Hello and welcome to this podcast from Blitheway Business News, where we're joined by Steve Curtis, Chief Executive of Caledonia Mining. Regular listeners and viewers will know that Caledonia operates the Blanket Gold Mine in Zimbabwe, is listed both in London on the AIM market and in New York, and has a market capitalisation of around £139 million sterling. Steve, welcome back. You've just released your first quarter production update. You announced you're on track to hit production guidance for the year, but production in this first quarter was slightly lower than you had anticipated. Give us the background. What's caused that, please?
Yeah, certainly, Tim. Thank you for having us again. Tim, two factors in Q1 that resulted in a lower production than our internal target. So we produced just 13,200 ounces, which, as I say, is behind our own internal target. The first factor was that the overall blended grade was below the target, and that was caused by our inability to get sufficient tons out of one particular ore body, because we had a fall of ground in that ore body right at the beginning of the year. That situation has been fixed. But it did mean that for January and February, we had to use less ore out of that particular area. But as I say, it is now fixed, and March is back to normal. The other factor was that Zimbabwe was blessed with abnormally high rains, and Blanket has never suffered from underground water issues. But this year we actually had flooding. Our pumps are never designed for the amount of rain that we had, so we had to get additional pumps and additional water columns into the mine infrastructure, and effectively we lost 4 to 5 production days. And while we fixed that, there were no real safety issues. It was just that there was an ingress of unusual quantities of surface water. It's now dealt with. So Blanket is back to running hitting its targets, and we're confident that we will catch up as the year progresses. So we're still there with our guidance, 61 to 67,000 ounces for this year and 80,000 ounces for 2022.
Okay, so that sounds like the kind of geological occurrence that is typical of mining, and then a very unusual weather occurrence in Zimbabwe. So let's now look forward. What do you expect to happen in terms of production in the coming months, Steve? And what kind of impact is the central shaft, the newly fully operational central shaft, going to have on increasing levels of activity?
Yeah. Tim, if people actually look on our Twitter account, you will see videos of the shaft, actually the new central shaft, tipping ore. So, that is good. So it is operational, and you're quite right. But the major issue is that we've operated as a single shaft operation for as long as Caledonia has owned the Blanket Mine, since 2006. We've been a single shaft operation, meaning that all your development waste and all your mineralized ore needs to come up one piece of infrastructure. We're going to continue to run 4 shaft as well as running central shaft as we transition from the one method of mining to the next method. Remembering that 4 shaft gave us access to below our lowest operating level, which was 750 meters, which for us is 22 level. 4 shaft gave us access just below 22 level to 26 level. The central shaft gives us access way down to 1,200 meters. And, so now we are going to use both shafts in the initial phases. So primarily, and right as we speak right now, production of ore will come up the number 4 shaft, and the development waste will be moved across to central shaft and brought up central shaft. So there will now not be a constraint on the capacity of 4 shaft. And to get to our 80,000 ounce target, we need to hoist between 2,200 and 2,300 tons a day. Now, 4-shaft can do that, and we will now slowly migrate waste material across to central shaft, which is happening right now. The volumes will get higher and higher, so we will be able to increase the level of development, which is what you need to be able to sustain higher levels of mining. And while we move the waste product across to central shaft, we free up capacity on 4-shaft, and we can ramp up mineralized material coming out of 4-shaft. So from now going through to sort of Q3, we will see a slow buildup of the number of tons of ore that is brought out of 4-shaft. And by the time we get to sort of the end of Q3, we should be mining at the rate that would sustain 80,000 ounces. And we'll be able to do that because we've got two very capable pieces of infrastructure. One will be dedicated to waste and the other to ore. And then over a period of time, the ore will also migrate across to central shaft. And maybe in a couple of years' time, Dana, the COO, will decide whether he just uses number 4 shaft for other matters and not for materials and product. Central shaft has got all the capacity it needs to handle waste and ore at a much higher level than 4 shaft ever had and ever will have. So we're going to be in a very, very lucky position to have more infrastructure and the ability to move between the two. And that's why, again, we're very confident to continue with our guidance of 61 to 67,000 ounces for this year, and then 80,000 ounces from 2022.
80,000 ounces in 2022, and no need to spend all that money you had been spending on central shaft because it's done now. So exciting times. Now, Steve, you mine gold, and the gold price has been performing better in recent times. How do you feel about the gold price? And people are starting to talk about us being in a super cycle. What's your view on that in regards to the gold price?
Well, the term super cycle, sometimes we feel we're just on a treadmill, just trying to get things going. Gold has got a place and a real part to play in the world economy. We have seen creation of money like there is no tomorrow since 2008. And then there was a real kick of additional money created due to the COVID pandemic. Now, there very, very many people will tell you and tell me that gold has got its place because the creation of this money will ultimately result in higher rates of inflation, and the age-old concept of gold being a store of value will take precedence again. Obviously, we've got new investment products like Bitcoin, which is taking a bit of the shine off gold, but we are still confident that gold will hold its head. It has got a place for the future. And we are very, very happy that, number one, we have finished our large expansion project as we have arrived at this time with a higher, more robust gold price. We're not happy that we have the pandemic, but the economic and macro fundamentals say to us that gold should be a good investment product for countries, for reserve banks, for consumers. We just hope that as economies around the world get back to normal, people have more disposable income, people will make their own decisions and invest in gold for either investment purposes or for gift purposes, as we know happens traditionally around the world. So we are confident about gold. And we're pleased to be in the gold space, and we're pleased to have a mine that has now got more capacity than it's ever had before, and our need for capex is going to just be on the decline from 2022 onwards. So we believe we're in a good space.
Well, Steve, that's good to hear. That was Steve Curtis, Chief Executive of Caledonia Mining, in a good space and feeling confident about not only the gold price, but the increasing production of the Blanket Gold Mine in Zimbabwe. That's all from Blytheway Business News on this podcast. Thanks for joining us.